It's WDHA's Reconnect with Rockers. I have an American treasure, the icon, the legend, the one and only Michael Anthony. This is awesome. I'm so happy to see you. How do you look the same as you looked in 1978? You look exactly the same as 1978.
Good, product. It's all about the product. You got a good face product. And
you got to let me know what that is, man. I know you live in a house with women, 2 daughters and your wife, so maybe they're able to help you. But you just are ageless, timeless, and man, I'm speechless.
I wish all my interviews started like this.
I think everybody feels that way. I was talking to a friend of mine in the music business last night, and I said, tomorrow on Reconnect, it's going to be amazing. I have Michael Anthony. He said, I think about it. I've been in the business like 30 years. Mm-hmm. Nobody has ever had anything bad to say about Michael Anthony. And I thought back and I said, you're right. You're just not only, one of the most talented guys, but also one of the nicest guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just in my genes. I don't know. Every time I get out of control here at home, my wife slaps me right back into place. So
I love that. See, behind every great man is a great woman. So I want to talk about this past year for you guys.
Uh-huh.
I want to talk about this past year for you guys in the circle and Lockdown 2020. When I first started watching the videos, I was like, holy crap, this is a rock band. Sam's there and he's got the mask on and he's, hello, baby. And Sammy's singing through the mask, in the videos, which was just absolutely incredible. What was it like for you guys to all get together, untraditionally, to be able to, kind of make music? And after all these years doing what you do, this year was an unprecedented year and something completely different than anybody's ever seen.
Well, it was different. It was definitely different than anything that I'd ever done before, doing these little video lockdown 2020 session things that we did. But it was cool because we were able to kind of stretch our legs out, and we played, because we got little snippets of everything from AC/DC to Bob Marley. And where normally I don't think we'd play stuff like that. We do Buffalo Springfield. There's a lot of bands that we wouldn't normally do. So it was kind of cool because we were able to kind of go a little bit outside the box. We didn't want it to be, once we started doing these videos, we did not want to just keep it all like rock. It was just like somebody would come up, like Sammy would go, oh my God, 3 Little Birds, what a cool tune, and at first you think, I don't, and then it's like, yeah, cool, why not? So we were pretty much open to doing anything.
And I love the way Sam's voice lent itself to so many different songs that you'd be like, Sammy Hagar doing Bowie's Heroes. Okay, I can't think of 2 guys that are stylized as vocalists more differently than Sammy and David Bowie. And yet it works so well. And you guys really stuck very close to sort of the original composition of that song. And, that's an emotion song. That's a song that has a vibe to it all the time. And I think you guys really captured the emotion of that song as well.
Yeah, that song was one that we actually, that was the last one out of the series of these songs that we did, that we already knew that we were going to put them together and put it out as an album. And then we decided to come up and do Heroes. And of course, all the money that came from that song, we're donating to food banks and people that, were having hard times during the year. And that's the only one also where you watch the other videos that we did. This one, actually, we put together more like an actual video than just showing us in our respective homes playing our instruments. So that was a little more thought out. But it's kind of funny that you mentioned that, about Sammy's vocal being different, singing like out of what he normally does, because that was the one song that he was really nervous about. He called
me.
He go, Mike. He goes, Mikey, I don't know if I made the wrong decision or what, because I don't know how I'm going to sing this song. And I'm like, just have some of your tequila or something and sing it.
But Give us some rum.
It blew my mind. I thought he sounded great on it.
Yeah, he did.
That isn't how he typically sings.
Well, Sammy's an emotional singer.
Yeah.
And I think an emotional singer singing an emotional song, even if the vocal style is different, definitely works. It's funny that you mentioned AC/DC, because I think of, in all the years that I've worked at WDHA and I've spoken to musicians, I think of the 3 bands that have influenced more musicians than any bands have influenced more musicians. And the names I always hear, and there's 3, Zeppelin, AC/DC, Van Halen. And I thought to myself, knowing I was going to be talking to you today, I thought, look, I was the Van Halen girl. I was
Mhm.
at every show. My walls were plastered with posters, um, and still am, and still Van Halen is my go-to band. Um, where would we have been? I'm just going to even harken back to the debut. Where would rock music have traveled without that debut? Where would guitar players be without that debut? Where would
Yeah.
frontmen and rhythm sections be without that debut? Have you ever really thought about the imprint that you have made on popular music? Because I think about it, and without that debut, I don't know where we'd be. We'd all be like, and I'm nothing against this band, I'm not saying it, but maybe we'd all still be Foghat. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I don't know, Michael. So what do you think?
It's funny because during the career, while we're playing, we're touring and we're recording and doing all that, you don't really have, myself personally anyway, didn't have time to like sit back and think about any kind of impact that we have on kids. And I guess it isn't until you're older, like we all are now, and we've done what we've done, accomplished what we've done, accomplished, where all of a sudden somebody will come up to you now, and I'm not talking about just a kid who goes, "Hey, I want an autograph from my dad," but the musicians that say, "Gosh, you guys influenced us," blah blah blah. That you actually start to think about just what we did as a band, all these, being together and doing what we've done all these years, and it's actually really gratifying. It makes me feel really good because
Yeah.
I would never really think about it. We're too busy making music and just doing our thing. So I'm not like, I don't know. It doesn't. I'm not like a rock star, I guess you could say,
No,
because
you're
I,
not. You're
I'm,
you're
I'm,
you're
a,
a real humble
I'm a
dude. Yeah.
musician, and my thing is playing in front of the audience and having a good time with the fans, and it's great to hear that feedback though from people though.
Yeah, and I hear from people on this feature. I had a young artist, Tyler Bryant, was on with me, and Kenny Wayne Shepherd, who I've known
Mhm.
since he's 16. We've aged together. Kenny's a grown up now. He's a man. But like everybody talks about Van Halen, being sort of that band, for them. And yeah, I mean, I just thought about it, and I said, where would music sort of have been without Van Halen? Let's talk about the circle too. I want to talk about your relationship with Sam.
Mhm.
You and Sammy are not just musical brothers, but you guys, did you know when you first met him that the relationship would be so strong and so solid and really this is a lifelong relationship. You guys
Yeah,
are going to be
yeah,
friends. You guys are going to
it
be brothers for
absolutely.
life. What was it? Did you feel it? Did you know it at all? Or did it just sort of evolve?
In the beginning when I first met him, way back when he joined Van Halen, like 85,
Yep.
that time. Uh, he joined the band as a singer, and we became great friends. But it was more of like in the band, it was like more of a band thing. And it actually really wasn't until he had been out of the band for a while, and then we reconnected uh, after not having spoken for a long time, that we actually became better friends than we were when he was in Van Halen. Now, I don't know, it's because we just reconnected then more on just a buddy level and not on a musical level, like, in the beginning, where, our friendship was all pretty much based more around the band in the Van Halen days.
And I
But
think you look to the people that you've spent time with too, in your past, I think, especially when you look back, and you got kind of go, you know what, that person was a real quality person, and sometimes you have a
Mhm.
different perspective at a different point in time, than you did. But I look at the two of you, and you guys are so, so locked together and so close and have such a great synergy together that, whenever I speak to him, when he calls into the show, he always mentions you. He always mentions you. And I'll tell you something funny. Our afternoon guy who works at WDHA, his name is Michael Anthony. So he comes in for a job interview, and he sits down and he says, "My name is Michael Anthony." I call him in for an interview. And I think part of the reason he got the job was because I had a fondness for him immediately, thinking of you. And I was like, Michael Anthony, huh? So we always call him on the air, Michael Anthony, the other guy, not the real one. We have the second most
The
popular
other Michael Anthony.
Michael Anthony in the state of New Jersey. And talk
That's
to me
funny.
about your relationship too with Jason Bonham. I mean, you are now part of that dynamic rhythm section, and man, you guys just bam. I
Yeah,
mean, bring it.
I've been really fortunate through my career to have played with quite a few great drummers,
Yeah.
And Jason, I actually met Jason years ago. There was radio station out here in Southern California, KLOS. I don't know if I
Yep.
mentioned
Sure.
that. And they would always have Christmas parties. There was a Mark and Brian were the two guys that were the hosts, and I was really good buddies with them. We would go on the air all the time, and they would host these Christmas parties and have bands. They would get a place out here, a small place, and host their Christmas party. And I actually met Jason playing one of those because he was one of the musicians I was going to play, and we actually jammed some Van Halen together. And in fact, it's weird. Somewhere on my phone somewhere, I still have the video that he had sent me. He had somebody video him playing. We were doing "Running with the Devil," and he's just like, "Oh my God, you gotta check this out! Look what I got!" From that first time that we jammed, but we did that jam a couple of times and became friends. And he actually, not very many people know this, but he actually kind of auditioned for Chickenfoot.
Is that true?
Yeah,
Wow.
this was when Chad, the Chili Peppers came knocking and grabbing Chad back, and he couldn't do the second Chickenfoot tour that Kenny Aronoff actually ended up
Yep.
playing with
Kenny.
us.
Sure.
Actually, Jason came in and jammed with us over at the Sammy studio a couple of times, and I don't, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. But it was really strange because then all of a sudden, Sammy's doing this thing. Some year, I think it was around 2015 now or 16, in Florida, where we, it's kind of the same way that Chickenfoot got put together. Sammy said, "Hey, hey, come on down where I'm doing this gig. It's some food and wine festival, and let's jam some tunes." And by the way, I called Jason Bonham because he lives like right down the street here in Florida, and that's when he came and jammed with us, and that's how the circle got started. But Jason's a great guy. We've become really good friends.
Yeah, and just, I mean, look, apple tree, apple doesn't fall far from the tree with that
Yeah.
one. I mean, just a monster drummer. And people have been asking me too, you got to ask him about another Chickenfoot record. So I said, I'll ask him about another Chickenfoot record. I always hope that, in the future, I know you guys probably want to get out and do some shows when we're able to do that, with the circle,
Definitely.
your fantastic band, and maybe in the future, another Chickenfoot record. I always ask Satch and I ask Sammy when he calls in, because, the fans really want to know.
Mhm.
WDHA love those Chickenfoot records. The fans so into it. I think the last time I saw you guys was New York City Beacon Theater,
Okay,
I
yeah,
think.
like the Beacon,
And that
yeah.
was just a great show. So, maybe a Chickenfoot in the future, you wouldn't rule it out, right?
I think there's definitely going to be some kind of Chickenfoot in the future because Sammy and I, we talk about it all the time, and I text with Joe and Chad all the time, if we're not speaking, and I know Joe really wants to do it,
Yeah.
and it's just like it's kind of funny because we start doing the circle thing, and Sammy gets all enamored with the circle. He's all, "Oh yeah, let's let's circle this and that," and then but you never know, he might wake up tomorrow and go, "Oh my God, I just Chickenfoot, let's do a Chickenfoot gig," but. I definitely think that Chickenfoot will do something else. Whether we'll record another album, which would be great, I'd love to do that. But I'd love to just get together and even just do some shows, do a bunch of shows with those guys because that's actually some of the best times I've ever had on the road. Believe me, touring with Chad Smith is like touring with no
I
other.
can't imagine Sammy and
Oh,
Chad together. Sammy and Chad together, with the energy level between the two, and you and Joe are sort of the, in life, I mean, not on stage,
mhm.
but I mean, in life, kind of the calmer guys, and in life, those two guys are sort of like the bam, here comes all this energy. So I couldn't imagine what that would be like.
Yeah, well, Chad, I met Chad. God, I think the first time we really hung out was in Cabo San Lucas when we were down there for Sammy's birthday, and this is back when Chad he used to tip a couple, and I'd never partied with anybody on that level that he was on before,
What? You were in
and
Van
even
Halen. What are you talking about? Really?
yeah, well, I think Chad kind of took it half a level.
Holy
Oh
cannoli.
yeah, and even hanging out with Chad since he's been sober, he's still crazier than some of the most crazy people I know. But we definitely have a great time, and I definitely feel that we'll get if not to record some new stuff, hopefully in the near future to at least get together and play some shows together.
Yeah, I think the fans would love that because Chickenfoot had such a great following. And I wanted to harken back. Of course, you lost your former bandmate in
Hmm.
October, and you talked about how sometimes it's hard when you don't sort of are not able to come full circle and sort of put everything kind of in its proper place. And I think that taught people a lesson too, because people were realizing, what, life is too short and you never really know where tomorrow, what
Definitely.
tomorrow is going to bring. And how are you sort of looking at that now that we've had, let's see, October, November, December, January, February, March, 5 months that has gone by
Yeah, 5 months.
since Ed's
You know,
passing.
it was really interesting because a few years ago, uh, their manager at the time, Irving Azoff, had called me about doing a reunion, and uh, he said that we'd have to wait because Eddie was having some kind of treatment done somewhere or something like that. And so it actually started getting put together, and I never knew that it was actually something. After listening to one of his son Wolfgang, one of his interviews, where he said that he had talked with his dad about a kitchen sink tour,
Yeah, I
throwing it
saw
all
that.
together.
Yep.
And I think that was part of them calling me back then about that. And unfortunately, it never happened,
Yeah.
which is so sad because I mean, the out of anything I would have loved to have done here later in my life is to get the band back together and just for me personally and for the fans to be able to get up there and play one more time, do it one more time. So I mean, it's really sad, but you know it is what it is and life goes on,
Yeah,
so
yeah. And we have that great, amazing catalog of phenomenal music, that part of
yeah.
history that we could not have done without you, without that
Yeah,
bass and without those amazing harmonies. Your voice, oh, that sweet voice. I love that voice. That's those harmonies are just mind-blowing. And I want everybody, if you have not checked out Lockdown 2020 from the Circle, sometimes we just need that boom ahead, especially when we've been in lockdown and have not been able to hear and feel some of that power of rock and roll. And I think this record checks all the boxes. The covers are amazing. The Van Halen tunes are amazing. There's nothing to like watching the videos, as I said, when Sammy goes, "Hello, baby," and he's got the mask on. I'm just like, only Sammy Hagar can do this. It's just
oh yeah,
incredible.
yeah. For,
Um,
for something that just started out as something that we wanted to do to just let the fans know that we're still there, that we're still out here, and we're at home doing what they're doing. And I mean, it was so the first song we did, literally, we just recorded into our iPhones.
Amazing.
And halfway through doing these videos, it's kind of funny. Sammy goes, "You mean we spent all this money recording and shooting videos? Well, we could just do it like this because everything sounded so great."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you think about it too, I just thought today it's like a year ago. Today, I
Yep.
think that everything
Yep.
got locked down.
Yep. Yep. I know. We've
March
been in
11th
it.
of last
We've been
year.
in it for a long time.
Way too long.
And I think we're ready to dig out of it safely, and hopefully we'll be able to do that sooner than later. Oh, and I want to remind everybody too, you've got the MattAnthonyCafe.com, and I always love catching up with you there too. All your gears and your muscle cars and all the fun stuff that you love to do. It's a real insight into that other sort of part of your personality.
Yeah, just a
Yeah,
little bit of the crazy me when
I
I'm away
love it.
from the band.
I love it. Michael Anthony, this has been just a little slice of heaven. You're lucky I don't keep you on for 4 hours, because I could do that, but I know you have a lunch waiting for you. I thank you so much. I said this to Rick Nielsen when he zoomed in with me too. You, my friend, are an American treasure, and we're lucky to have you in music.
Well, thank you very much. And when we're out your neck of the woods, when we're back playing and out touring, you're gonna you come to the show and hang out with us, and we'll celebrate being all back
I
together.
can't wait.
And,
I
and
cannot wait for that day. Thank you, my friend. I love you. Thanks for all the years of the
Terry, it's
great
great
music,
talking to
man.
you. You
You
take
too.
care, and hopefully see you soon.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Karis Lock Company, your full-service locksmith.